Hey guys, welcome back to Flipper Flicks. We have a special fireside chat.
Ooh.
I know, fancy. We're doing something new, something very new, and yeah. So we're doing a weird cold open too. So yeah, Chris isn't even here yet. You're gonna hear me talk again, and Tim and Sam talk, and then a new person.
Whoa.
Dun dun dun. But I'm gonna pass this off. No.
You're not going to explain what a fireside chat is?
Fireside chat, yes, I'll explain that. Fireside chat, where we're bringing somebody who was involved in the filmmaking process or multiple people's. In this case, it's a director.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, he's going to come on and
talk about his film.
Yep. All right, now I'm going to tag.
Did you say your name?
I'm Adam.
Well, I got him.
I did say I.
That's
not
true.
Adam.
You did.
I didn't say Adam. Anyways, go ahead. Yo.
Is it my turn?
Yeah.
Okay, just make sure. I wasn't sure. But I'm Tim. There, we said it.
Hi, Tim.
Hello.
Hey, Tim.
Yeah, this should be fun. Fireside chat. But we have social media, if you're unaware. Now you're aware. Mostly on Instagram and Twitter. Follow us there, see what we're doing, our shenanigans, chat with us, send us messages, whatever you like. We'll give hints to what we're watching, what we have coming up. So follow along where you can listen to us, Anchor, Spotify, Apple, other platforms. They're just randomly out there. There's so many of them. I'm not going to name them all. We have a website where you can go and give us recommendations, whatnot. It's flipperflix.com. And we post episodes every Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, but sometimes we have bonus episodes, so it's good to follow us and find out what those episodes are going to be and get them when they're hot, when they drop.
Yeah.
Oh.
Drop it like it's hot. Wait, don't drop it. Pick it up when it's hot.
Yeah,
Pick it up when
that.
I don't know, hot potato.
Well, I'm Sam.
Okay, I was just like right there.
I know,
ready.
you were like ready for it. And so, as they talked about, we have a director on the pod today. His name is Chris Haigh, and he directed Song for Hope, the Ryan Anthony story. It's a documentary, and so I'll give you the synopsis that was submitted in the Beaufort International Film Festival catalog. So it goes, Ryan Anthony, regarded as one of the greatest trumpet virtuosos ever, was only 42 when he was diagnosed with cancer and given just months to live. Faced with an uncertain future, an uphill battle full of hospital stays, chemotherapy, and blood transfusions, Ryan continued to share his talent with audiences around the world through solo performances, masterclasses, and concerts. So I feel like this film is a good one because it's really connected to music and it's connected to Ryan. And as you hear Chris speak, you'll see how passionate he is about the film.
So it's amazing.
As well as his friendship with Ryan. Yeah. So we've got him on tonight, and it'll be really exciting. Song for Hope is in a couple different film festivals, but if you're looking to watch it, it's in the Malibu Film Festival, which runs this week, and it's only $5 for a pass to see the film. So if you're listening to Chris thinking, wow, this sounds amazing, like, go ahead and get that pass and you can see it. I'm sure he'd be really appreciative.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Tim, do the thing.
The cue the singing drafts.
Hey guys, welcome back, and we have a special treat for you today. We have the director of the movie A Song for Hope, Chris Haigh, on our call today. Call? I don't know why I called it a call.
Call, talk, chat, whatever, you know.
Listen, I'm British. We've got different names for things. I like the fact that you're experimenting with language.
Yeah,
we call the parking lot the car park. There's lots of weird sort of.
You have like extra
people
e's
do.
at the end of some of your words, and I just don't get that.
You guys got rid of it all. That was it.
That's a whole
as soon as you
newspaper
chose that
scenario.
1776 thing, you were like, get rid of all these English words.
We don't need that.
Just
U and
scale
color.
it down.
No.
Yeah.
Town. No.
shoot.
T-O-W-N.
We
no,
thought
no.
we were better than you until you. Yeah, we thought we were better than you until you went to space, and we're like, damn,
Well,
it's
shit.
not as good anymore.
Well,
Yeah.
personally, I haven't been
They
there.
passed
but,
us on the space thing. Hey,
shoot.
my mother-in-law works for SpaceX. I don't know. You can definitely put that in because I won't say her name. Right?
Okay.
Yeah, she works for SpaceX, and like it's kind of kills me as a sort of a creative writer and a guy who's doing films and stuff, because no matter what, I'll never be able to be as good as that, because what she does is she writes effectively what they take up to fix things up in space, right? There's astronauts go up and they need a manual to help them fix things up on the ISS or any of that stuff, the space station. She writes those manuals, right? So the crazy thing for me is it's like I can't walk around to her place because no matter what, when you say it's not rocket science, literally what she does is rocket science.
So are you saying you're the next Jack Black? His mom also worked at, I think, NASA.
She wasn't she one of the people who's involved in the moon landing or something? I'm not as good as Jack Black. not in the slightest. You know? He can grow beards. There's lots of things. Why did I go for the beard thing? I don't know. Beard was the first place I went to with Jack Black. I can't believe it. Yeah.
But anyways,
he's a great actor. Anyway, sorry, carry on.
You're good. You're good. That's okay, because I was going to say first hard question up today. Just tell us a little bit about yourself. You know, how you became Chris and
how did you become Chris?
I was born on a summer's day in 1986. No, there's a lot about me, really. I came from the UK, obviously. That's why I've got this strange voice. But I came from northern UK, so it's like a little town called Rochdale. And there's some crazy stories I could go into about Rochdale, but again, I'll just keep talking your ears off. But yeah, that's where I come from. They've got a great bridge that says the birthplace of cooperation, which is because they created co-op, right? But everybody just thinks that we're being really smarmy and think that we created where people cooperate with each other. Yeah. So we've got that. Yeah, but anyway, so I come from that place.
Chris.
Told you I'd go on a tangent.
Cooperation and Chris.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's going to be on the bridge soon.
I hope so. Other than Gracie Fields. Well, there's Gracie Fields. She was a singer. You ready for this one? And then the other claim to fame, apparently, is that our town hall, which if you ever type it in, have a look at it. It's cool. It's a really cool town hall. Looks a little bit like Big Ben, the big clock. But Adolf Hitler, I know this took a turn. Adolf Hitler, before the war, he was like into architecture and art and everything, right? Before he became all sort of despoty, right? He apparently saw a picture of our town hall and said, right, when I take over the world and I'm like a megalomaniac, I want that taken down brick by brick and rebuilding in the Führer Plaza, right? That is the other claim to fame of Rochdale. So if I could add a little ray of sunshine in amongst cooperation and Hitler, then I think I've done all right.
That's very good.
Told you I'd go on a tangent. I've not got to meet.
Hey, so you're not in a weird realm. I am well, we all get on tangents, but I am not. I do it a lot.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you. So a quick background of me. So when I was back in the UK, I was a teacher. I taught English. I taught English because it was just the best one to get a job in. I actually studied classics and ancient history and Latin and Greek.
Nice.
You got a fan right here.
Went super down that route. Had to translate the Aeneid for my first year, the Virgil's Aeneid with Dido and all that. So literally went through all the epic poetry and everything, studied how it was written with iambs and dithyrambs and stuff like that. So watching the pacing of like poetry and stuff. So then I started teaching English in like high schools in England. There's one that's called Failings that's not far from me, which is, it's kind of a diverse area. It's very difficult. We've got a lot of people coming in who are from Europe there. We've got lots of people from all different countries who are all in this area. So you're teaching kids, some of whom don't speak a lot of English, and stuff like that. So that was quite exciting to do that as a teacher. And then what I started doing, because I was bored just doing that, I was also a musician at the same time. I've been a musician since I was about 11 years old. Okay. And I played a thing called the tenor horn, which is...
I was going to bring that up because you said it. I have a decent memory.
I'm just giving a story about me right now.
Oh yeah. No. Yeah. I just remember you talking about the tenor horn when you at the film festival. Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I played the tenor horn. It was a brass. I was in brass bands, and if you've ever seen, like, I don't know what your knowledge is of British film, but we had a film called Brassed Off that had Ewan McGregor in it, who's now Obi-Wan, obviously. Pete Postlethwaite was in it Pete Postlethwaite was the conductor of the band, who was in Jurassic Park. He was the apothecary in Romeo and Juliet, Baz Luhrmann's one, and in a bunch of other things. Steven Spielberg loved Pete Postlethwaite as an actor, said he was like one of the greatest of all time. and he's the conductor. Yeah, true story. Type him in. It's a really difficult name to spell, though. I'll have a good time spelling Pete Postlethwaite, right? Just go for Spielberg and type Pete and you'll get there, right? But yeah, so he was the conductor. Then there was this Tara Fitzgerald, who's most recently she's been in, what's she been in? Most recently she's been in Game of Thrones and stuff like that. But she played the flugel in it. So she played the instrument that Ryan plays and stuff like that. So really cool thing. And that was the band I played for. So I played for this band that are in Brassed Off, and not when it was filmed, because that was filmed in like the 90s. But when I played for them, yeah, check it. They did like a world tour and everything. They were called Grimethorpe Colliery Band. And I went traveling with them, and like we did tours all over the place. It was great. Went to, Holland and places like that. And that was one thing that I was doing whilst also teaching. And then obviously because I've done music, I started teaching music. So that sort of introduced me to this sort of area of music and musical structure and stuff like that. And you start realizing there's quite a lot of similarities between, in the classical Greek poetry, oral poetry by Homer and stuff like that.
Yep.
As you work your way through, rhythm and pacing and everything like that becomes quite integral to a lot of art. And all I did was I just started looking at these different structures. And that started getting me into this idea of making films. And then the crazy thing was, when I was a teacher in England, back in England, and I was teaching at this school, Vailenge, I was doing primary school music teaching in my spare time as well at like little ones. So I was teaching, little kids how to play trombone and little kids how to, all these crazy things. We played ukulele, which I was pretty crap at, but I learned it off YouTube, Yeah, we were studying that song Lava from Disney, and I realized by about the third bar it was really difficult for kids to play. So then we were like, okay, just stop on bar 4, 5, 6, 7, and back on it on 8. So yeah, it was cool actually. And the great thing was I got to teach special needs kids music as well, and it's amazing. They love every second of it. It's like you can really see that. So that was something that really impacted on me, And then for some weird reason, and now again, taking a left turn completely, I became a comedian and started doing stand-up comedy in my nights. I left the band and I left the musical work, and I started doing stand-up comedy. But here you go, you ready for it? I needed to bring all that stuff together, the music together, and like this. So you guys are gonna wonder who you've brought on here now. But heck, you've had like
3 different careers.
Yeah, I did. So I did stand-up comedy, and I started writing shows for a band and coming up with musical licks and stuff like this. And we did a comedy music show that was an Oktoberfest show, where this Oktoberfest band that was like 8 people in it, and then me fronting it, we went and toured the country and played to all these different places. They were called the Jägermeisters, like Jägermeister, and we got free Jaeger everywhere, which was really bad for my liver.
Yeah, it's either hit or miss. You either love it or hate it.
And I was in a blonde wig and a lederhosen and a black Prussian jacket, and called myself Hertz von Rental.
Perfect.
Yeah, welcome to the party, pal. Yeah, welcome. We didn't go to Oktoberfest, but they had a series of bars that were like, I don't know, a bit like I'm trying to think of what kind of what your regular bars are out, like a wood ranch, but not with food. It was all just drinking. Everybody was getting absolutely plastered. So kind of like a sports bar. They had this sports bar sort of a franchise that was all over the UK, and it was called Beer Keller. And literally, you went downstairs, and they were long Oktoberfest tables, and everybody's drinking what is effectively 2 pints of beer out of these massive steins.
Yeah.
And all I do was, so I learned that, right, we're going to teach them the drinking song, the German drinking song, which is I'm Prosit, Kite. Right?
So real quick, we actually
go.
We I'm gonna pause you.
Not on the film yet.
We actually we went to Munich for Oktoberfest in 2019. The 3 of us did.
God.
Yeah. So talking.
You guys need to get to England, man. Our Oktoberfest is a lot more hardcore. We used to do all kinds of crazy stuff on that. As I said, how long have you got? We might have to push little Satchmore. It's great and everything, but they've got a lot of stories. May have to do a second part. Yeah, when we were going all over the UK. We did Edinburgh Fringe Festival, which was really cool. And we were up there for like a month. Oh no, it was like 3 weeks actually. We didn't get the first weekend, but we went up there, and me and this band basically did the drinking songs at the beginning, and then we did a bunch of drinking games, just crazy drinking games, like mad stuff. We used to get people wearing pans around the waists, and then they'd have like massive dessert spoons suspended behind the legs, between the legs, and then they would pull the legs apart, it would swing up, and it would play a note on the pan, right? And then we would play this tune, and it would be tuned into arpeggios. So we had 6 of them, and this craziest thing was, you're gonna have to bleep this. We called it the Cockenspiel, and when I met
bleep that.
well, if people are into the music, they'll like that pun, right? But Ryan, I met Ryan. I've got a video somewhere. I met Ryan in Banff in Calgary, Canada, and we did this sort of fun, sort of music, sort of fun show. And they were like, Chris, you're gonna have to do some comedy. What can you do? And I was like, give me a few tins and cans and empty cans of tuna and anything like that, and I'll see if we can come up with a new Cockenspiel. And the next thing you know, sorry, I won't keep saying it. And Ryan was the first musician of that one, and I've got a video somewhere, and he can't hold it together because they're all hammered. And it was Ryan, it was Jens Lindemann, it was like Alain Trudel, this like great Canadian conductor who's like, he conducts like, I think it's Vancouver Symphony or something, like a really well-established conductor stood there with a tuna can suspended between his legs trying to hit it with a fork. It was just crazy. And that was so then I decided to make a film. And after all that, after I'd done the comedy and done Edinburgh Fringe Festival, then I decided to go out to Turks and Caicos Islands in the Caribbean to film lifestyle videos for a TV channel, like hotel TV channel. So anytime anybody went into these hotels and just turned on the TV, we'd have a video or videos playing of like, an interview with a local restaurant, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. You get like a local internet celebrity that's like somewhat Instagram influencer.
Boom. There it is. Go. Yeah, they've got 35 followers and everybody on the island thinks that they're the it girl. There was the one. Yeah. All right, carry on. I'll stop talking about me for a minute, and you can ask another question. Because the Turks and Caicos things.
You answered one of our questions without us even asking.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm amazed. I've not covered like 20 by now. That was.
We tried to be clever,
And
Yeah. Have you ever dressed in a blonde wig and called yourself Hertz von Rentel? Yes. There it is.
That was actually
you got it.
That was my third question.
Can't believe you guessed that one.
I dug real deep into your history and whatnot. I'm just kidding. But
right.
You can go ahead.
Oh, well, I was just going to say, so you already told us a little bit of how you first met Ryan, but I guess when did you sort of decide to take this project forward with him?
Immediately. So it was kind of crazy. I was in a really I wasn't feeling good. I was in a bad place, and my friend Jens is a great trumpet player, Jens Lindemann, and I'd recorded with him with my brass band at that time, which was called Foden's Band, and we'd done this recording that was amazing, all great jazz trumpet tunes and stuff. And he gave me a call, and he just said, I think I'd had a breakup or something, an ex of mine had cheated on me or something, I don't know. But either way, he went, you should come out to Banff in Calgary and play with the All-Star Band. And bearing in mind, I've been like a first horn, so not solo horn, like the middle guy, the guy who kind of has a really good time in music, but I'm no kind of virtuoso. It's not like, you've got the next, I don't know, Joshua Bell or anything like that, Anyway, so I goes over and I'm part of this all-star band, and clearly they saw a thumb because these guys are some of the great, and girls are some of the greatest brass musicians in history. And there's me sitting there, next to a guy who's clearly angry because one of his mates can't come because I've got the ticket or I'm sitting there on the stage. So I'm sitting there. There was one point I dropped my horn and Ryan said it sounded like a trash can. So I knew we'd be friends. And then, basically all of these great musicians used to finish playing and then kind of all go off to themselves, not nastily, they would just go off and practice by themselves, or they'd go off to their own room and have a nap or whatever. Ryan didn't. Ryan would just come to the bar and we'd just sit and chat, and you wouldn't have known that he had anything wrong with him in a million years. I know that gets said quite a lot, it's quite cliche, but definitely not right. Like, he'd stood up, he'd played the Alpine Symphony, which is like this gargantuan trumpet part, like he's hitting notes that you just wouldn't hear being hit cleanly, absolutely perfectly, like a CD style performance just in a rehearsal. And he was so good. So when he came over to chat to us, and then you find out that he's waiting on blood test results, and that was it. He was waiting on his blood test results from this doctor because apparently his cancer was like 50 odd %, which obviously is a lot less than it is in the film, but it was high. And when he told me about the things he was experiencing, you couldn't really kind of fathom it. And then we went on stage. We played another like 3 or 4 times at this great festival with this all-star brass. As I said, me kind of ducking and diving, hoping that nobody realizes that I'm definitely not an all-star. And then, yeah, me and Ryan just laughed because I told him stories. You know, I made him, thankfully, because of my comedy past, me and him just laughed. And he just enjoyed me telling stories. Then he'd tell me stories about crazy things he did when he was on the road with Canadian brass, you know, and like just we had a really good laugh. And after that, I was just like, I need to tell you a story. And there's, in fact, if you're friends with me on Facebook, which I don't think any of you are, you know, you nasty buggers. No, if
I think I'm the only one with the Facebook left.
Oh, if you go on my pinned post, that's 2018, and I was like, Ryan Anthony. Every time Ryan would post something, I was friends with him. I was like, this guy is absolutely incredible. I need to make a movie about his life, and I just kept saying it. And then, you know, eventually, yeah, that just became the norm. It was like, this is going to happen. It just has to happen. And however we're going to get it to happen is how it happens.
Is that when you wrote the 70-page document for the production company?
It was long. It was longer than that. The first couple of pages, like 2 pages, and it was just like a nice kind of like, this is Ryan, blah, blah, blah. And we had a great, we had a great camera operator called Ben who came on board. He was great.
Okay.
He was involved with the project. And basically, yeah, we started with that. And then I started coming together because documentary, you're wanting to capture this stuff. So everything began with just a couple of pages, then 5 pages, then 6 pages. And then it was like, right, we need to do a pitch deck. So then the pitch deck got written, and that was like, 50 pages. And then everything just slowly got out of handle. And then when everything was kind of captured, I started looking at the interviews and how we could do the interviews to help us tell the story. And the brilliant thing with Ryan was Ryan had the stories he wanted to tell, I think, and I think that he and I had been talking. So, because I used to have, this is again, another sidetrack, but I used to have Velcro on the side of my work computer. I haven't even told you about how I came to LA yet, but I used to have Velcro on the side of my computer screen. And I used to just, with like, the gripper on the back, and I used to just stick it to that. I know I should have bought one of the proper things, but either way, I used to just stick my phone to the side of my computer, and we would FaceTime whilst he was having blood transfusions. So I learned about Ryan's life whilst he was having chemotherapy. I learned about Ryan's life because like in the film, he does 92-hour chemotherapy. But when he's in there, he's restless as hell because he's in absolute agony. And also he doesn't know at what point it's going to kick him and kill him. Literally. So he wants to be on the phone in case anything happens, I think. And, he just used to call me and be like, oh, yeah, my cancer's at this %, whatever. It was just kind of like he just kept me updated with things. And we chatted about his background. And, I tried to get as much into the film as possible, but there's some things you can't get. There's some things that are just mesmerizing. Ryan's doctor was found for him through playing. He wouldn't have got that doctor had it not come through playing. And it came about by this. He went to another doctor, and this doctor's son happened to play trumpet and was just like, are you Ryan Anthony? And he was like, yeah. And he says, I've got this pain under my rib here. And this guy says, right, I'm not like a foremost surgeon in this thing, but I'm going to send you to this guy, Dr. Brian Berryman, who's, a mate of mine. And he says, and he'll get you seen right away. Again, something that probably isn't great for other people who don't have musical connections, but the fact that he was a trumpet player, I think he ended up teaching that guy's son as well as like a thanks.
Nice.
You know what I mean? Like Ryan, it's
thanks
just
for
like
doing that.
crazy. I met with, this is another one, just a random musical link and a random side note. Again, cut me off here. I'll do a pause.
Oh, it's fine.
Right, and then you can cut that in. Right, but Bramwell Tovey, who's a conductor who worked, I only played under once, and it was at Foden's band. He is a fantastic worldwide conductor. He's conducted the LA Phil. He's conducted all these others. He had cancer that was a tumor that was round his ribs, right, on his right hand side, and it was wrapped around his ribs. And he still went on stage and conducted. With his right arm under his arm, under there was all these things, and he was literally in agony. Then they took the ribs out and put in plastic ribs in and told him to try and keep calm. And literally 3 weeks later or something like that, he was conducting the LA Phil and doing all the fireworks and everything with the 1812 overture. And he sat there, and then so I'm sitting talking to him, and it was the day after, and I went, Maestro, well done, and all this. And he got back to me on Twitter and just went, come and meet me at the Sunset Maquis, which is like, this great hotel in Hollywood. Talk about Hollywood, right? And he goes, come up here, and there's a big poster of Jim Morrison on the wall and stuff. And he's talking to me about stuff, and he goes, I want to say I'm very interested in the film because Ryan Anthony reached out to me in the final weeks of his life to talk me through what I would experience through the chemo and all this kind of stuff, what I did this, what I did that. Literally talked to him and then said, so you're going to be fine, you need to do this, but you don't ever stop conducting, you got to keep conducting. That's the reason he kept conducting. And that's one that we were midway through, well, we'd finished editing the film, midway through getting it out there, and it was like, I could have got this guy involved, I could have got that, but there's so many people were coming out of the woodwork. And then Ryan died, so then more people came out of the woodwork with their stories, and you're like, how much more can we get into this film?
So you're gonna have like a docu-series after this, right?
Yeah.
That's what it sounds like.
We could, you know, I've got a G-Tech drive next to me that's like 20 terabytes or something, and it's just crammed full of stuff. Luke and Tara, who are my colleagues on this, fantastic. Yep. You know, Luke's an editor and cinematographer and a producer, and Tara's our producer who literally oversees everything now. And like, you know, we were mesmerized by everything with Ryan. We were mesmerized by just the stuff we were capturing sometimes, you know, literally following him. And that's why we had to try and get that into the film, because the guy didn't stop. If you told him he had a week left to live, he would see that as, right, I've got 5 more days to see if I can play.
Yeah.
He didn't give a monkey's.
Awesome.
He really didn't. He didn't see an end point, really. And that was
you can see that in the film too. You did a really great job at like just displaying that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, thanks. Yeah.
So on your terabyte, I guess, or your hard drive, there's obviously tons of footage, but like what, I guess, was the hardest choice you had to make in the editing room? Can you narrow it down to one?
There's some beautiful bits. I mean, I wanted to see more Ryan smile, you know, like, don't get me wrong, you want, but but he was just laughing all the time. And we got it into a few of the montages expertly cut together by Luke, you know, and I've got all the stuff where I'm standing next to, you know, Luke and Ryan, and we're just filming and we're just hanging out. You know, that day that he's flying the kite, that was just him hanging out with us for a couple of hours. You know what I mean? And it was just a really nice time to hang out. And yeah, I'd say in terms of on the cutting room then, there's a few things. I mean, like he talks, we did a 7-hour long interview with him because there was nothing really in the can until January 2020. Okay. You know, with Ryan, he did a lot of talking to the camera. A lot of times we just left, you know, like I flew out to, when Ryan got pneumonia, I flew out there and didn't film anything because that was the tough. I think that was a really tough bit. When Ryan got pneumonia, we wondered what to put in.
And that was in like the autumn of 19, right?
Yeah, that was November 2019. I was in Santa Monica. It was like my wife and I, before we were getting married, you know, it was like kind of like our little getaway. And I'd spoken to Ryan on the Friday, and by the Sunday, Nikki was texting me. Ryan and I were joking on the Saturday. Like he was like, "Oh, they're going to take me in." So I was like, "Oh, yeah, no problem, mate." Blah, blah, blah. And he was joking about, I said, "Do you need me to come over and give you a sponge bath or something like that?" Just like a bit of a joke.
Yeah, just like shoot the shit.
Yeah,
that was it. And then 2 days later, I get a text and it's, "Hey, Chris, it's Nikki. You know, I've got it somewhere." And it says, "Less of the sponge bath jokes now," or something like that. And Ryan's actually really sick. And then I'm like, oh my God. So yeah, thankfully I had Tara, I had Luke, you know, and they literally phoned through, got me on a flight, and I was out there within about 2.5 hours. 3.5 hours. I was over in Dallas, walked in, and this is how it changes. So they were like, "Ryan's admitted, Ryan's not good," on the Sunday. I think I got there about 10:30, 11 o'clock on the Sunday night. I've gone off on a tangent here, but I will get back to what I've cut or what was cut and why I'm going.
This is all good.
But yeah, I mean, I got there, walked into the hospital, walked past Nikki's friend Noelle, who must have been there with him overnight. And there was a guy coming out, and I said, "Oh, is he in there? Is he okay?" And he said, yeah. And I took that to mean, "Oh, go on in." And I walked in, and Ryan was sitting on the commode, right? And I went, bloody hell, I've flown 1,500 miles to watch you taking a shit. And then this guy comes and goes, "Oh, no, he's not done yet." And I said, "I can see that." And Ryan's watching. So it was just like, that was the kind of guy he was. So yeah, I would have loved to have had a lot more Ryan laughs, but it's just, you know, you've got to think about, there was a comedian I used to really admire in the UK. I think I got to play with him once on stage. I did like a warm up. I wasn't like, you know, anywhere near his level. He always used to say, "Your audience are giving you time. And you have got to earn that time, and you've got to make sure that you do not get them wrestling in the chairs or pissing about. You've just got to have it constantly drive forwards. And, and then when you get to a moment that kind of stops, they feel it and they give you it, they allow you it. And yeah, that was something that we wrestled with, but I would have loved to have got loads more in. We had about Ryan and his wife, Nikki, and how they met and how they used to fight over video games and stuff. Because Ryan was completely broke and he was like, trying to get away. He was like a proper scrounger in those days because obviously he was living in his car and stuff. And Nikki's got great stories about it. As I said, and she used to work in this like little Italian. So we had this idea of like this, I had this idea and then Luke cut it together of this, like we'd go Ryan, then Nikki, and back and forth, almost like an Italian Vespers, a little bit like not the car, I mean the singing, right? A little bit like these, a solo becomes a duet. That was the idea. Yeah. And then got cut for the RB bit where Ryan grows up and everything like this. So instead of going more complex in terms of just this soloist, just Ryan as an individual player, like we had in his theme at the beginning. By the time it's Ryan growing up and Ryan becoming a great player and Ryan winning awards and all this kind of stuff, instead of going duet and having two instrumentalists and two people narrating, we decided that for the score, it would be syncopated rhythms. So Ryan growing up and Ryan becoming more complex in the way he plays and Ryan becoming more experimental and stuff like that. So it's very kind of syncopated, and that same kind of rhythm and that same kind of syncopated feel comes back in the teaching bit later on. Yeah. So that kind of is, Ryan was growing up and now these guys that he's laying the path for are growing up too. So all of that is kind of callbacks and links to the structure of the film, really, which is what we're aiming for, I went off on a random tangent there.
Well, it's all good. It's all good. Now, like, do you have like a 3-hour director's cut version of it?
No, sadly not. In the room, it was me, Luke and Tara, or Luke, Tara and I, as I should say, as a former English teacher. I had a massive wall that they'd just moved in. They'd moved into this place right before COVID hit. And we were all working for Orange Robot, the production company. Yep. And they do a lot of EPK stuff. Like they're going on sets for Apple TV shows and for things like that. Oh, nice. And they're fancy. Yeah, that's cool. They go on and film all the BTS, which is really cool. Not the band in Korea, right? But they go on, they film the behind the scenes, they do interviews and stuff. We did something with David Guetta together. So when the COVID pandemic hit, we just decided, right, well, I moved in with them for a little bit just to kind of work on the film, worked on bringing together this. Ryan doesn't stop. This was another thing about the film. Ryan never stops. So therefore, if the film is not moving fast enough, he's got other projects that he's going to be doing. And that was the thing with when COVID hit. Ryan was like, right, I'm having my 5th stem cell. I've got this, I've got that, I've got this, I've got that. What do you think? And I was like, Ryan, what the hell, man? We're over here. We're not filming anything. He goes, no, I'm not even asking you to film anything. I'm not telling you to film anything. I just want to do this. So we started talking about things. And then, one of the things that we came up with was that, we'd seen a couple of these bands, like literally it'd been a couple of these bands doing these little sort of like segments with all the people in the boxes and, all the players all played together.
All the sea shanties. That was around when the sea shanties kind of go bonkers. I was for it. Right? I was for it.
Thank God Ryan wasn't doing a sea shanty. Yeah. You know what I mean? On his trumpet. But so he said, oh, we should do something like this. And then what was crazy was, as a lot of people were doing, they were just putting a recording up and then people sort of like miming to it. And it was like, well, it's about live music, and we've all been about live music and the importance of live music. There's no way we're using a recording. So we sent the recording to people to play with so that we could get them playing in time to the music. I'll tell you this, 1,400 people, there's no way that all of them played in time to the music or to the piece of music that we wanted. But by God, we got them all in there. And, that was sort of our, right, this is how we're going to edit together. And we sat there in that room for 2 weeks because we wanted to get it made for Ryan. Yeah. And he started dying quick. And like another thing he'd done as well was he phoned me one day, and I thought we were going to chat about this world band thing. And he phoned me one day and he was in the top box, and in the bottom box was the guy who was his stem cell donor. And he phoned him up and said, I've managed to get this guy. So I'm sitting there watching these two having a chat where he's like, oh, yeah, I feel a little bit like you, actually, because it's like I'm getting your DNA. So I'm sitting watching this and thinking, we're not putting this in the film. We can't get this in the film. But just all that crazy, just wild stuff, you know?
Yeah.
That is bonkers.
Yeah, mate. Just some of this stuff is just bonkers. But yeah, we got that together. Me, Luke, and Tara, we edited in that room. Luke was basically putting it all together in these boxes and everything like that. Meanwhile, I've worked out how to structure this film and worked out how to do it the way we've done it. I'll talk about whenever you want me to talk about that. I'll talk about that. But I've worked that out, so that's in my back burner, ready to go, right? And I'm thinking, right, I in Ryan mindset, we're editing together this thing, and Luke's finessing it, and Erica Brenner, who's also in the film, who's a Grammy-winning classical music producer, multiple actually. I think she's won 2 now, right? She's an amazing person. We love her to bits. She's doing a sound edit of these 1,400 people.
Oh my gosh!
For free for us. Just up there in Cleveland. So she's doing that. And whilst that's all going on, as I said, I'm creating a PowerPoint presentation or a keynote, whatever you want to call it, with literally taking shots, taking little video clips, taking music. I'm listening to Vivaldi like it's going out of fashion. And I'm literally, Max Richter and all that kind of stuff, and literally just shaping this whole thing. And then it's all there ready to go. So when we'd finished doing this 1,400 people, and we literally we put 1,400 people on a screen, all playing together, all in sync, all rhythmically somehow working. Tiny bit of auto-tune on 1 or 2 of them because some of the sounds were organic, right? There's some of the wallpaper.
They went on a riff.
Yeah, going out loud. We did that, and everybody now, if we put it on a big screen, will have, I don't know, I think it's 1 foot by 1 foot, each of them. So there's all these people, and so that was really cool. So once we'd done that, we'd had our arguments in the edit suite, we'd had our chats, and we started immediately then on the film, and we edited it for 6 months to 8 months because we had time. COVID was going on. We had no work. So yeah, I'd turn up to theirs every day, or I'd stay overnight. We'd watch the Dodgers play baseball and just have a great time editing this film together. Yeah.
So you kind of talked about Ryan never stopped, right? Kind of had that about himself. When did he hike Mount Fuji? Because that in itself is difficult. So I can't imagine.
Yeah. So he was diagnosed in 2012. Mm-hmm. I met him in 2015, and I think he did Fuji in 2016 or 2017, if memory serves correct. And the crazy thing is, when we got that footage, it was from this group of people, and they said it. And the problem was, it had music in the background of it.
You had to strip the music,
which always happens, and obviously they've recorded over it because they were this firm over in Japan who were doing that multiple myeloma research and Takeda Oncology, and that was great. But it was right now we've got music over it, so we have to be careful how we use the narrator, how we use our music in there, and it wasn't just Amazing Grace. They'd put some kind of pumping sort of gala night, events video tune on it. So
perfect.
It was sad because that's another thing we had to cut, because Ryan halfway up the mountain says something looks into the camera, and he's got his chemotherapy drugs in his hand, taking them when he's
oh my gosh,
3-2 however many thousand feet off from the summit. That's he's just taking his chemo. And the brilliant thing, the other thing we wanted to get in as well was, so Ryan and his doctor did a lot of things together. And there's a picture of him in the film at Dave Matthews Band. They loved Dave Matthews Band.
The DMB?
Crazy thing. Yeah, the crazy. Oh, mate, he's got it. Dr. Berryman, Brian Berryman has got it on his folder. He's got a picture of the thing and the logo and everything. And when he met Ryan told him he knew Rashawn Ross, which he did. Ryan knows every trumpet player in the world. In Cancer Blows, there's some great stars that we couldn't even mention their connection, but it was pretty wild. Jose Cibaja's on there. He is the trumpet player from Ricky Martin's Living La Vida Loca. That's the trumpet soloist. That's so cool. Him.
That was my jam.
He's on it. I've got him on my speed dial. Right, he's amazing, awesome. And he's one of the nicest guys. He's trying to get us across the San Sebastian International Film Festival in Spain, but he's on it, so he's awesome, right? And all these great. I know that's another thing that you get into, trying to get people into the festivals to try and take note is tough when it's classical music. But heck, we're doing our best. But yeah, I mean, all these trumpet players that Ryan knew, and all these people, Ryan could easily connect you to any of them. You know what I mean? It was
Yeah.
very easy for him to do it. He'd just put you on a group text, and before you know it, you've got like, Wycliffe Gordon's probably thinking, who's this Chris Haigh? Who's this guy? You know? And he would just do it. There was one time, Wayne Bergeron's on there. Wayne Bergeron, if you ever go on his website, he's played on like 700 soundtracks. He's played on more soundtracks that you'll literally go through and think, I've heard this guy in all of these, right? So Wayne Bergeron's like a big supporter of the band. He's given of the film. He's given us money to help us make it. Herb Alpert from the Tijuana Brass has helped us make it. Like, there's quite a few people who've really kind of invested in this film. But yeah, going back to Ryan and his doctor, they went to see. So Ryan's doctor was like, "Oh, I love Dave Matthews Band. You don't know the trumpet player Rashawn Ross, do you?" And Ryan's like, "Yeah, of course I do. Like, I'm a trumpet player, and everybody knows me." So what was great was they got onto a WhatsApp group, the three of them.
Yeah.
I really wanted to put into the film because apparently Dr. Berryman, who's the sweetest, nicest guy, is very prolific, or was very prolific on this WhatsApp group. It was just like, "Hey, Rashawn, how's it going?" You know, like he's kind of fanboying Rashawn Ross and the Dave Matthews Band. And I just wanted to cut to Rashawn if we could have filmed him. Just go like Ryan and his doctor kind of having a bit of back and forth. And I wanted to just cut to Rashawn and him say something like, "Yeah, I've got Dr. Berryman on my speed dial," you know, whatever like that, because just the way that he was just like hyping up this whole Rashawn Ross. And I just imagine Rashawn was like, "I've got to block this guy's number," or something. Yeah, it was great. And I hope that, you know, as I said, I hope that doesn't offend Berryman, but yeah, it was great. Their relationship was one of the nicest relationships I've ever seen. And, you know, it was that kind of thing. Yeah. Go on.
He was the guy that you were, there's a scene where you're in the doctor's office, I think.
Yeah.
And I swear you said you were holding the boom mic.
I'm in the other room.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So that's all recorded on shotgun mics. But this is how crazy this was. So that was the first day in Dallas. We arrived in Dallas. Ryan had arrived 2 days before. In fact, not 2 days, 1.5 days before. As we were driving. Oh, I've not even told you guys how this all went. Right.
Yeah.
Right. We'd driven from LA to Memphis to make this.
Oh gosh.
We bought a trailer with the money that we got from crowdfunding, and my old boss was Shane Hurlbut, who's at ASC. He's a really good guy, and he gave us cameras and sound equipment and light and everything. He's a hell of a DP, and he brought me over to LA. Actually, he's the reason I got here. And yeah, we filled up this trailer. We drove it to Memphis, all of us, and yeah, we basically just started filming Ryan and capturing his life, capturing what he was doing, capturing what he was like. And that was really important. But when we got to Dallas, we drove there from Memphis to Dallas, arrived, and Ryan was like, "Right, I'm going into doctors. He's going to tell me, you know, what my blood results are like, or what this is like, or what that's like." And, you know, it was like everything's happening so fast, you know, and you can't really not say, you can't really say no to Ryan. And when you think about it, you know, like I was sitting there thinking, God, we could get in a lot of trouble for this. Like Ryan literally walked us into the hospital. He's going seeing his doctor. He's telling everybody that we are just like capturing home movies. I'm there with like a boom mic, you know, and a sound pack. Ben's in front of me with his camera. Luke's in front of me with his camera, and the three of us are flying around. Tara's back at home Tara's back at this house that we'd Airbnb'd, literally working out schedules for filming, working out, you know, trying to phone up, trying to sort out all the legalities of us even going into a hospital. And there we are, just filming away.
Doing it.
Ryan's going, capture this. This is where I get weighed. This is where I get my blood taken. And he's like, yeah, don't worry about filming these girls. They all love me. And like all the nurses are there smiling at camera and stuff. And we're like, and then what's worst is, so we went into that room with Ryan and his wife, Nikki. And obviously it's heartbreaking, you know, like, what is it? You know, he's going to be told 70%, but we didn't know at that point. We just knew he's like, oh, I hope that my cancer cells are okay. I hope that I've got a low percentage. So Luke and Ben went into the room. The two camera people went into the room and sat down on like the far side of the room, which you can't really see, but they're on two little wheelie chairs. And I couldn't fit in the room because there was just no way. It was made for like two people, and there was like 5 in there. So I went in the room next door, and I'm sitting there, and like we put a shotgun mic in there and stuff like that, but it was mostly recorded on the shotguns of the cameras. And yeah, like I'm sitting listening on my my sound pack and hearing all of that without seeing it. It's all going in my ears, a bit like music, I suppose. And as that's happening, the woman who was the head of Texas Oncology or head of PR at whatever it was, very, very nice lady afterwards, but not at that point. She marched in. I'm hearing Ryan's like got 70%, so in one ear, and then I've got her going, "Who's your producer? Why have they not?" And all this, and I'm sitting there like I couldn't correlate it. I couldn't get it all together. And then Tara then phones. I'm getting 50 missed calls from Tara. So we came out of that hospital. And we were not flavor of the month for a bit there. But,
no more returns to the hospital for a bit.
Run and gun. No, but it was run and gun. And do you know what? For that bit, it was important because we wouldn't have caught that. And I think that maybe, even everything about it, there's quite a poeticness about that scene because Ryan was going in honestly not feeling as bad as he had. Mm-hmm. He didn't feel great, but he was like, "Oh yeah, I've felt 70% and it's terrible. You feel like this, you feel like that." And the problem was it would hit Ryan in various different ways. Mm-hmm. And he would be touring. So he can't go and have a blood transfusion. He can't go and have this, can't go and have that. So he's touring for 4 days. And when he comes out, he's bottomed out completely. Yeah. And that was just the way he was, man. He was just a inspiring guy. And the problem is when you're making films, sorry, I'm going off tangent, but
it's all good.
Right? But when you're making films, like you have an idea for what you want it to be. And that was how I wrote it. I wrote it to be the story of Ryan Anthony. That's why it is Song for the Ryan Anthony story.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that the biggest problem I was coming up against was every time I was kind of writing the story, I was telling people about the story, anything like that. Lots of people were saying, "Oh, what's your political angle? What's this angle? What's that angle?" And it just annoyed the hell out of me. Because I was just like, is that what's going to get us into a Sundance? Is that what's going to get us into a South by? Having this political sort of, wedging in or crowbarring in a political thing just because it has to happen. It feels like in documentaries nowadays.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not a great way of filmmaking, I don't think. I think that, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of political messages need to be said, but they tend to be, either very cleverly told, and that was their motive all along, which is great. You know what I mean? And then like a little bit like, and I don't know why I'm using this one because there's better documentary makers out there, but this one's a good one. A bit like Michael Moore in Fahrenheit 9/11, he did this bit where he showed at the very beginning, the opening was just it was people who were TV anchors or people who stand at sort of crime scenes and stuff, just having makeup put on. You know what I mean? And doing their own makeup before the cameras start filming them, before they actually go on camera. And obviously the whole thing is about a cover up. The whole thing, and I really like that. That's how, a very subtle and very clever way to start. And then we'll learn about what the thing is. I find that sometimes there's films out there that go, right, this is the story and it's about this person, but we know that biopics are not well treated at film festivals, and we won't get into South by if it's a biopic. So we need to crowbar some, right. It's something actually about this subject.
Yeah.
That's it. It's actually about, so sometimes, I think that making the story that you want to tell is important because you're more passionate about it. You believe in it. And you believe in the people that are in the story. We've got on my soapbox. Then you get beef at film festival over again, guys.
I was loving it there, man.
Yeah.
I did. I went on a few riffs.
That's fine. Yeah, it's all good. Love listening to it.
Thanks.
So how many festivals have you gotten into then? I mean, are you struggling with that, or is it just kind of...
No, I think we're doing all right. We're in 10, I think, now. I mean, Tara's got the whole... Yeah, it's pretty cool. So we're in Sarasota. We're in one in Barcelona, which is like the finals, because there's one that basically they do it monthly, and then they have like a yearly finals, and we're in the yearly final of this one. It's ARF Barcelona, which is pretty cool, 2022. Then we're in Richmond, Virginia, which is a big international film festival. And Sarasota is the one that's coming up in April. I'm trying to think. Malibu as well is next week.
That one is virtual, right?
Virtual, all virtual. That one's virtual. We're gonna be going to the Barcelona one virtually. Sadly, I was hoping to take me speedos, and some tan.
I love Spain,
mate. Well, that was it. And the thing is, what's great is obviously now that it's winning, or now it's doing well, like people are all diving on like the trips. So it's like a circus is going to be coming to town now, because I've got like Jens wants to come and play, and he's like, oh yeah, I've spoken to the Ritz whatever in Sarasota, and I'm going to play a little gig with this piano player that I'm bringing along with me. And it's like people are just coming just to hang out for the festival and just sort of doing some music gigs and stuff. There's another one. When we got to Richmond, Virginia, Pete Meekin, who's the guy who actually wrote Song of Hope, the original, the one that Ryan played, the one that's played on by the 1,400 people. He's coming down because he's got a new premiere for the American Bandmasters Association in Virginia, in Richmond. So he's like, I'll come along and just hang out at the festival. So he's getting me around the States. Actually, it's quite nice. All these musicians are all sort of coming out. So yeah, it should be good. Is
Ryan's wife Nikki going to go to many more festivals? I was honestly just like in shock when she was there at Biff.
She's a riot. I mean, Nikki doesn't let a lot of people in easily, but when she does, she's the best person. She really is. And you see it in the film. We had to capture it in a way. And I think that I listened to Tony's music from another film called Bathtubs Over Broadway, which was like a while ago. Tony, by the way, is a composer. He's cool as hell. He was actually, he was writing sort of the trailer music at Skywalker Ranch for like Forrest Gump and Iron Giant and a few other like big films. He did a bunch of stuff. And when Ryan introduced me to him, actually was like, this guy Tony's great. He's written this piece. He wrote the music for NBC Monday Night Football, right? And I was like, what? And it was like, yeah, this guy's written 140 licks for Monday Night Football, the whole all that. Wow. Tony wrote it all, and then they recorded it for NBC, right? Back in the day. I imagine it's changed all now and everything like that. But so Tony did all that. So I was like, this is cool, but it's not really the vibe I'm going for, to be honest, right? I want it to be more musically structured. This goes, no, mate, this guy like learned, the greats, the John Williams and everything. He worked at Skywalker Ranch. He did all this stuff for trailers. So yeah, then whilst Ryan was still alive, I was chatting to Tony and talking about these ideas, and we're kind of sitting chatting, and it was what was crazy was Ryan. I spoke to Ryan a bit. I kind of wanted Ryan to know as much as possible in a way, because you don't, he's gonna pass. I think that we kind of reached that point. So I didn't know when that was going to happen. So I sent him my PowerPoint that was 80 pages long, and he could have a look at minute by minute of his life. And as I said, with that, it wasn't that I knew he was going to die. With that, the plan was we finished the movie here, because every day when I knew Ryan, he said to me from the first day I met him, I just have to make it to my daughter's graduation. That was his whole thing with me. Now, he might have had different things with other people, but for me, he said, no, man, they told me that, I was going to die in 6 to 12 months. And I went, no, my goal, daughter's graduation. Yeah. And people looked at him crazily, but he was like, why would I set myself a goal 6 months from now? Because when I make it, then I've got to set a new goal. I'd rather set one big goal. You know what I mean? And as I said, heartbreakingly, he didn't make it, but that wasn't the point. And I think that's why we kept Berryman in there saying Ryan's going to die, because that was the realization for me, really. It's not about death, because when you get told that you've got incurable cancer, if you think about the death, you're not going to do anything with what's left of your life, and that was the crazy thing with Ryan. He was told that he was never going to really be cured from it, and he just decided not to accept that and keep doing stuff until it was more universally non-accepted, I suppose.
And then I actually had a question about the Beaufort Film Festival. So when you guys won, no, it's all good. When you won it was the best documentary feature, right? Mm-hmm. I swear,
best documentary feature and best music score.
Very awesome. I swear I saw either you or Luke gesture like was it to like Philippe from the long what's it called?
Oh, the long ride. I spoke to Philippe. Right.
Did you try and say was there like a side bet for his hat going on or something?
No, right. This is great. So Felipe had spoken to us earlier in the week, right? We'd gone to this sort of like a filmmaker wine and cheese, whatever the hell.
Yeah. I saw the
it was pictures. Nice. Up at some Culver House or something. I was walking through, and then they wanted a picture taken, everything. I didn't manage to speak to a lot of people, but Felipe was there. I had a good chat to him. I didn't manage to speak to Maytal, but I saw her film. There was a few people that I really wanted to kind of chat to about their films, because I'm a bit of a film geek, in case you haven't noticed. So I was really kind of. I've met a couple since. I met Robbie out here, who did one called American Morning. He's cool, right? But there's I really wanted to kind of get to hang out with those people at the wine cheese thing. It was Felipe was Felipe was cool as hell. He was he was standing there in this hat, and I was like, dude, I really like your hat. I was like, you need to get me one with like a British flag on. And he was like, oh, British flag on top. And I was like, nah, after Brexit, I'm not the biggest fan of Britain right now. So let's go for something a bit more cool. So I don't know what flag I'll get, but yeah. So that he was like, yeah, I'll sort you out, bro. And I thought, he said that at that same event, he said he'd come to watch our film, right? Because we said, oh, we'll come and watch your film. You come watch ours. It's quite a nice thing. Mate, I'll tell you this. We were there on that Saturday night or whatever. We turned up, we went and sat down on our Q&A and everything. Oh, so before the film even showed. And I watched Felipe and Sean and all that leave. So I was like, oh, man, I've got it. Yeah. So then what was great was on the night of the gala event, I went over and went, where were you? And he went, oh, don't worry, I'll still sort your hat out, bro. And I went, hey, don't give me any of that. I went, I don't believe you. So when I went up on stage, I thought, call him out, and there's no doubt I'm going to get my hat. Yeah. So that's what I did.
Okay, so that's what that was about.
That was it, but in a nice way, because I've chatted a lot since. He's a really nice guy. I know a bit about horses and stuff, which is cool. So me and him have chatted. I sent him a few emails of people that I know that might, he might be getting in with in a cool horse sense. But yeah, it was like, we had a bit of a joke about the hat, and heck, I'll send him a headband or something. One of my things, maybe a hat, maybe a cap. I don't know, something like that.
Yeah. During that, you'll see us in like some of the pictures. Sam and I were like probably third row the entire week.
Oh yeah.
I
moved around. I like being in the back corner, but I moved around. It was quite nice, It was a really nice hall.
I swear, at one point, so I'm pretty sure I heard you ask a question once, because I was like, I have not, because like I have a decent memory. I think the other two can agree to that, but I'm gonna speak for them there. I was like, I don't recognize this guy's voice. What the hell? What movie?
Oh yeah, the British.
The
British accent sort of gives it away, doesn't it? Yeah. Well, the thing was, just before we won the documentary prize, like this other guy got up who was like a proper Cockney, like, oh, hey, how's it going? And I was like, I don't know if it's documentary short or best short film or something, but he got up and he was like, proper, oh, lads, how's it going? And I was thinking, God, they're gonna think, if we win, then they're gonna think that it's all British and like it's some kind of, like
I know what you're talking.
Some kind of Bridgerton fest. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I remember. So I don't remember what was his movie.
I don't know,
but it won. But that was it. So I was just like, okay, right. Well, don't talk too much and don't be too British. And then thankfully Tara had written some words down because I didn't, in case you didn't notice. And then, I think when I started riffing about Philippe's hat, I was like, well, this one certainly went off
quick.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you notice, that's what I did. I was like, oh yeah, God, we've got to do a nice dedication to Luke's mom, which was beautiful, really nice dedication and everything, but crying out loud, right after I'd been sort of calling Felipe out on his hat. So yeah. It happens, guys.
Then you won best musical score. So
yeah, and I was sending Tony up for that because he was like, Chris, come up with me, but I didn't. I thought that was Tony's moment.
I would agree.
For him to win stuff like that. And my word, what a score his score is. Yeah. Sorry, go on.
We didn't so we actually had the choice of either sponsoring the musical score or comedy. We ended up going with comedy, but we're in the pamphlet. Flipper Flicks is in the pamphlet if you go and look at
nice. I'll give it a glance. You guys did so it's Reopening won that one, didn't it?
Yeah, Reopening. We actually have talked to Chris, the other Chris.
Yeah, another Chris.
Yeah, no, and Kelsey
from over here as well in LA.
Yeah. So
you teased a little.
No relation.
No relation. No.
Thanks for clearing that up.
I wasn't sure there.
I was going to say you teased Tony and Ryan's relationship a little bit. So what was it more of like they like fully knew each other, or was that just another person that like Ryan had on speed dial and like one of his connections?
Tony and Ryan were very close, really close actually. It's a strange one. They played for like a few brass ensembles. I think one of them was called Burning River Brass. All these brass ensembles have really cool names just so just to kind of entice people. So they were called Burning River Brass. And I think that if I remember correctly, Ryan went to Memphis and was sort of, living out of his car, like he said, and living at Gary's and things like that. Yeah. And then Tony was up in Salt Lake City and got diagnosed with lung cancer.
Oh
man!
And then that took a turn. And then so Ryan then flew. No, sorry guys, don't worry, we'll bring it back because he's still with us. I don't know if you noticed, right? But then Ryan flew from Memphis to live with Tony whilst he fought it. And Tony actually had the I'm not sure how big it was. Ryan over exaggerates and says it was a volleyball size, but they took it out. They took his lung out with the tumor in it. And now
Holy
Tony
shit.
plays trumpet unbelievably and played on this soundtrack with one lung and played trumpet. And he's the principal trumpet of Seattle Symphony Orchestra.
And
so
I
yeah,
can't even play a trumpet with 2 lungs.
wild, right?
I know. It's wild.
It's mad. And so he's playing the Ryan theme, actually. That's the that's Tony. It was the first thing that he recorded on that weekend up in Seattle. So that's a really cool thing. And it's nice that he's playing that. And yeah, they were really close. I mean, Ryan even asked Tony to be his best man at his wedding that was to Nikki in Memphis. I don't know what happened. I don't know whether Tony got a gig. I don't know, but Tony wasn't there. Not that he wasn't there for his mate or anything like that, but Tony didn't make it. So he didn't manage to be best man at Ryan's wedding. But I tease him on that because him and Ryan had a few phone calls together where I was like, well, make sure you turn up this time, Tony, and all this kind of stuff, you know. So they buried that hatchet. And plus, Ryan got him this gig. So clearly the hatchet is well and truly buried.
Yeah.
Low hanging fruit, easy to poke at.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh yeah, but they were great. I mean, Tony is. You know what? The brilliant thing about Tony writing this music was he knew Ryan. He knew the cancer fight. He knew the power of music.
Yeah.
He knew how composition could be effective. And the cool thing was, we just sat and I chatted to him about, look, I want it to be like this. And I found, like, when we did the original edit, I found like playlist of the music and the style of the music. And then Tony goes, right, I've got that. Now I'm going to go off and I'm going to do my thing. I'm going to try and create these established and great scores and soundscapes and things like that. So that's how we did it. So, you know, when Nikki's doing the diagnosis, I really like this kind of and real kind of, you know, metronomic pacing. You know what I mean? To really kind of add that dum that's actually Tony's wife, Mika, on cello. And I wanted that to be higher pitched. And Tony was like, no, let's get this into a cello and let's do like a thing. So yeah, so that piece came originally from Roger Gula's Pale Blue Dot, which is a violin piece, which is very kind of arpeggio. And yeah, when we got the cello in there and that real kind of digging down right towards the end, it was like, you know, pretty powerful stuff. And it did exactly what we needed it to do. Because when you're structuring this, when you're pacing this, you know, it's that idea of, somebody said it once, death's like a symphony, fast, slow, fast. You know what I mean? You get the diagnosis and it's quick, it's all going at super pace and you don't know, your life's not really going to kind of settle down really. And then all of a sudden it has to settle because you don't know what's going to happen next. So there's the slow movement of that second act that slowly gets faster and faster. And then that final one is just a dance to the end, really. You know, we know he's going to die, but it doesn't matter, really. Pace has got to go, you know?
Definitely.
Yeah. Well, I was just kind of curious, I guess, when the soundtrack might be out for listeners or be on Spotify or...
Yeah, we've had a few people ask about that.
I listen to movie soundtracks at work like every day.
Yeah, I'm a geek. I'm a proper geek of it. And the crazy thing was, right before Beaufort, they had a private showing down at just a quiet one in not like a world premiere. It was a private one for students in Bournemouth. I wanted to be in England. I wanted them to experience this one. And more importantly than that, it was a festival run by Rupert Gregson Williams, who's the Emmy-winning composer, not Harry Gregson Williams, who did all the some of the Harry Potter stuff. But yeah, Rupert Gregson Williams and Rachel Portman did a talk right after our film, who did, and you guys, you know, like she did a lot of good ones, but strangely, I'm going to say a movie now that you guys probably haven't thought about in terms of its music soundtrack, but The Legend of Bagger Vance with Matt Damon and Will Smith in it. From I don't know, 2001.
Okay. Yeah.
Her score in that, if you ever type it in, there's a great tune in it called Juna Plays the Field. It's about number 7 on the soundtrack. I listened to that on repeat. It was just a beautiful piece of music, just so fragile almost. And it's such a great piece of music. And yeah, like I was obsessed with her as a composer since then. And yeah, she did a talk after this film back there. So yeah, cool. I don't know where I went on a tangent there, but yeah, film composers. That's where I was going. That's where the tangent.
Yeah. I brought it up. I turned us.
Well, film composers do this, don't they? And I'm really fascinated by them, just like you guys are. It's like one of the coolest things. I love listening to soundtracks, you know, listening to the John Williams that was 90 minutes to 120 minute soundtracks, you know, like they didn't. And I've said to Tony, like, we've got a few ideas for stuff we can do in the future, you know, there's more narrative stuff. And it's just, really is cool when you can play with like an original soundtrack. You're creating stuff that people are going to listen to for years to come,
Yeah.
And what's even cooler with this is we've spoken to the DSO recently and the Dallas Symphony Orchestra, Ryan's orchestra.
Okay. I was like, I don't know what that is. I'm going to be
honest. Oh, sorry. Yeah. I could have just, I'll throw some, there was a BMW. There was that, no. And yeah, we spoke to the DSO not long ago, and the plan is obviously for Cancer Blows, which is Ryan's charity, we'll start doing live performances with orchestras. Like we'll make this score available for orchestras and ensembles to play. Nice. Like back in the UK, as I said, I played on Brastoff live, which was like brass bands doing the music for Brastoff with this massive screen and everything, and it was done down at the Royal Albert Hall, and it was just really cool, all these things. And you've seen it with Jurassic Park being played live with an orchestra, and Star Wars live with an orchestra. Why can't we do it with a documentary, and why can't it be do it with this, whereby the structure's so integral in music? And not just that, Ryan is interwoven into this soundtrack. We actually take points where Ryan's playing and rips off a note and stuff and put it into the score, so it's like he's playing on his own soundtrack, I suppose, which is cool because then Ryan gets to play on stages all over the world he'll outlive us all, I suppose. So that's the really cool thing about it.
Yeah, that's very cool.
Yeah.
Can you kind of tell us a little bit more about Cancer Blows?
Yeah, so Cancer Blows started in 2015. Ryan was, in fact, maybe they wanted to start it before that, but I think Cancer Blows was in 2015 was the first one. So Ryan got diagnosed in 2012, and basically multiple myeloma, and the version of multiple myeloma that Ryan had, the strain of it was particularly aggressive, and there was nothing on the market. There was no real drugs out there to help, because it's a terminal cancer. So what you get is people going on certain types of medication, certain chemos and certain things like that, and then they'll reach the end of what they can get anymore, or their bodies won't be able to take it anymore. Now, usually the latter is the thing that happens first. Their bodies can't take any of that, the chemo and the radiation, all that kind of stuff, and they sadly pass away. Because Ryan was so young, his body could take quite a lot of that chemo, quite a lot of punching, quite a lot of, radiating. And so Ryan got diagnosed in 2012, and I think that there was just so little on the market for him. So the plan was, right, well, I've been given, 6 to 12 months, and at best 1 to 3 years was what they were giving him. So they were like, Ryan was like, that's based on the drugs that are out there, and that's based on how well this cancer's known, which is not very right now. So, and it still isn't. So he went out there and they created, and he and Jens, trouble together. It was Jens is in Cancer Blows as well. They always, they come up with these grandiose ideas, blah, 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 blah. And then they phone up Nikki, and Nikki goes, no way, right? Or she's like, she's like,
too much money.
I mean, can you imagine what it was like when Ryan phoned up and went, they're going to make a film about me, and it's Chris, and Jens is executive producer. I imagine Nikki threw the phone into that lake. But yeah, thankfully they trusted me. But where was I going? What was the question again? I forgot.
Tell us more about Cancer Blows.
Oh yeah, so Cancer Blows. Sorry, I got too much on me.
You're good.
You got the beginning of it.
Yeah.
You notice how I lost it? Yeah. So Cancer Blows was exactly that. It was that thing of, right, I've got lots of friends who are fantastic, really famous trumpet players. I've got this Rolodex.
Only a few of them, right?
Yeah. Lee Loughnane from the band Chicago. I've got this person, right? And that's what Ryan and Jens were doing. They were just saying, who can we get next? Who can we get next? Who can we next? Right? Who can we get? And, they got to Doc Severinsen, who is probably one of the most famous because of TV and because of everything like that, and was having a film made at the same time. Doc pretty much said, yeah, I'll do it. I'll come along and I'll be with you, and I'll play on stage with you again and all that stuff. And then from there, everybody you're speaking to who's a top trumpet player is going to say yes, because they want to play with Doc and they want to play with Ryan.
Yeah.
And they don't know how long Ryan's got. And the cool thing with that was Doc and Ryan were just awesome people to be around. I didn't make it to Cancer Blows, which is the saddest thing. I met Ryan right after it, because that Cancer Blows, I think, was in March. I met Ryan, June, July. So I wasn't even there, but I heard about this, and I heard about it from across the water. And I was like, I'm about to meet the guy that started this, and as I said, it was just quite the journey after that. It was like, Cancer Blows 2 came about, and then Ryan was like, right now we've done Cancer Blows 2, we can do this, we can do this, we can do this. And then you have Nikki behind him going, let's cut that down to 3 things, you know. But he just did it.
Let's roll it back a little bit.
You know, she's still doing, she's got 2 more albums of his. They've got music for 2 more albums. So there's going to be a Ryan Anthony album next year, and there's going to be another one, I don't know, in another year after that. And it's like, Nikki's still got those to produce. And the crazy thing for me was, I saw Nikki for Ryan's memorial, like literally the week after, 4 or 5 days after Ryan had passed. And she was like, he was laying there, you know, the day before he passed, and was literally coming up with all these ideas for how he wanted his funeral to go. And yeah, Jens will take a 5-minute spot there, and then we'll have Wayne Bergeron can come and do a spot, and he can play this one, and we can have Night in Tunisia. And apparently he came up with all these ideas the day before he died. And Nikki was like arguing with him, saying, I'm not doing all this. I'm not, you know, it's not not like Live Aid or anything like that, you know what I mean? And but that was just the way he was. And as I said, in terms of Cancer Blows becoming a thing, he was the force of will that made it happen.
Yeah.
And whenever I got this got difficult and hard, you know, I would always look at his model and his path that he'd laid, because this is a guy who is literally sitting there and sending the emails whilst, you know, you're sitting watching TV or something. He won't stop, and if he doesn't stop, then we can't. So it was as I said, that was quite an education for me. And yeah, Cancer Blows is a result of that, and Nikki won't let it stop. You know, what's great is this film's now going to bring them attention, and by bringing them attention, hopefully it becomes a global thing. You know, the coolest one of the coolest ones for me is Mike Lovett. Mike Lovett's a trumpet player from England, from London, session musician, played on a bunch of played on the James Bond soundtracks. Really cool guy. Nice. He played on all the Family Guy, you know, the theme, the Family Guy live stuff. It's absolutely amazing. And he's like, yeah. Oh, I love Ryan. Yeah, let's do something. Yeah, it's absolutely bonkers, some of the stuff, you know.
It's wild.
And then this guy who does you know, did comedy in a blonde wig somehow seems to be the guy telling the story.
Exactly. That's just how things work, you know?
Yeah.
I bet you didn't expect that sentence today, right? That was a new one.
I don't know if I was, but here, I'll make a quick plug for this. Like, if you go to like smile.amazon.com, you can choose to donate part of your purchase, if you're using Amazon, to the Ryan Anthony Foundation, which is very great to be able to do.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah. Thanks for that.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, it's something that I always forget to do, is use smile.amazon.
Yeah.
Because some days I'm just like, I don't want to use Amazon.
Right.
But anyways, I'll let Sam ask her question. She's been.
Well, it sounds like you have so many good moments from making the film, but I was going to say, do you have like a favorite one that you haven't told us yet?
Oh, man, there's some just daft one. Like, there was one that was so there's a great one. I think we kept it all in the montage when the Saints and the, you know, when it gets faster, and it's Ryan and Jens are both sitting in this like tiny little cupboard of a dressing room backstage.
Okay.
And Ryan's completely bald, because once he did the chemo, it all started falling out all over the place.
Yeah.
And then even crazier than that, just a quick side note, when Ryan did stem cell, it made his hair grow back curly and like all kinds of crazy stuff, because you're getting the DNA of somebody else.
Yeah.
So
I remember.
And like wild things. If they didn't like strawberries, then you wouldn't like the taste of strawberries.
That's crazy.
Is that so? Most of that conversation between Ryan and his stem cell donor was him going, and I tell you what, I don't like dark chocolate anymore. And he was like, I'm still there. But, is this going to be that conversation?
This is an interesting one.
When they were. It's mad. They were in this little cupboard of a dressing room backstage in Austin, and I didn't want to be on camera, obviously, and I wanted to kind of have the boom, so I stood in the bathroom, literally like on the toilet, holding this boom out to capture them talking. No, and unbelievably, the sound didn't make it in. And I just remember that. And Ryan's taking pictures of me on his phone. He couldn't hold himself together. So, you know, whatever you're filming is just him mucking around. So them laughing on that bit is them laughing at me being stuck in the bog, like trying to, you know, which doesn't have a closable lid with a flat thing on it. So I'm literally, you know, as I said, dicing with death. Yeah, with wires. I mean, like sound wires. Can you imagine it? I could not be it. So yeah. So whilst that was happening, Ryan was taking pictures of me, in the bathroom, possibly getting electrocuted. So yeah,
good stuff.
As I said,
It's great. It's great photos. Your wife is gonna
great
probably,
experience.
has printed out photos of those. Just be like, you remember this?
Oh, there was a lot of crazy. As I said, just it was a really nice experience to make this film because I got to hang out with a guy who's my friend. I mean, it probably translates a lot into the film, and is, it's not meaning to be sycophantic, but he was a great guy, and I think that what was really nice, was in that time together, everybody was wanting to come and say what they thought of him and what he'd done for them, and you just couldn't fit them all in, And that's fine. They can tell their stories everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah. Outside of other festivals, what is next on your plate?
So I write a lot, and I really want to get into some scripted stuff now. I've written a couple of scripts.
Okay.
With my writing partner that's up in Chicago, Mike, who's also an Englishman from Rochdale, same as me. He'll be on the bridge, cooperation.
Perfect.
Good.
Yeah. He won't be going to the town hall though. They're taking that down.
It's getting
for
moved.
Putin. But yeah, I mean, he was a fan of it. No, we're writing a sitcom right now, so that's good. I mean,
Nice.
I'm pretty far on with that, which is cool. And yeah, there's a few others. Like, it's nice chatting to Tony about ideas too, because obviously now that we've used music as a kind of narrative tool in this one, I've got so many ideas for how we can use that again, and how we can use that in a, in less of a kind of a documentary fashion, but certainly using it more in a narrative feel, because there's so much with music structure, there's so much with narrative structure, and I think that's the sad thing right now. There's a lot of films that don't really seem to have cool structures about them or anything like that. And then when you see one like a Nolan film or a Guillermo del Toro or a Greta Gerwig or, Ava DuVernay's, they're really, really well structured films. And those are the ones that stand out. Those are the directors that stand out. Those are the ones that I admire the most. Shaka King as well is great. Because, just because I really like the way that they dance around structure. They're cool.
Yeah. So which filmmaker, if you could work with any of them, which one would it be?
Oh,
hardest question ever. I know.
It's an insanely hard one.
I know.
It's my wife done. I've win.
Boom. That was perfect. Perfect answer.
My wife's a producer on a TV show called The Goldbergs. That's Sony Pictures.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, if I can work with any filmmaker, it'd be her. Definitely.
Perfect.
Awesome.
Perfect answer.
Yeah. Provided she don't start giving me shit on set or anything, because then
That's a different story.
I have to change my. I'll come back. I'll give you another 3 hours, and I'll tell you about. I'll change my name. No, go on.
Have you been preferring to do like the writing part rather than the directing? Is that something like, I don't know? So I'm not into the film.
Yeah.
I'm not in the film industry, so I'm curious about it.
No,
I'm film curious.
I'd say everybody can write films. And what I did, and this was like when I came to LA, I came out to work for Shane, who, if you want to edit this in, is a fantastic DP, and he worked on Semi-Pro, really cool guy. Yeah, Shane was awesome. And he taught me, blocking and lighting and things like that, because I was writing for him. So I was learning from him and then putting it into,
nice.
Not layman's, but simple terms for his Filmmakers Academy, or whatever his name of his company is. So I was doing that, but I was also doing analysis of films. So if you go to Hilbert Academy, I think it's called, but it's now Filmmakers Academy, I did a series of 6 episodes, 10-minute episodes called The Look Of, right? And the idea was, it was looking at the cinematography and the way that top really quality modern films are directed. So we did 1917, we did Joker, did Parasite, and looked at how directors did it and what they did and the way that they framed people in the the way they frame people. I don't know why I was going, and things like that. If you look at it, it's quite cool, because that was something I did in England as well. I moved up from teaching English and stuff like that. I actually ended up teaching film studies. So that was one of the coolest things, because literally film studies in the UK was like, right, we're going to watch this film called Alien for suspense. So I'll keep pausing it every 5 minutes and we'll talk about how it's been. And that was literally how me and this other guy talked. It was amazing. We got kids, like, you were getting kids going out with iPads and they were just filming sort of like chase scenes and stuff, you're like, right, let's analyze it. It was just cool, and I loved doing that. And yeah, I did these analyses in the same way that we would do that back with my kids in school. We would do these video analyses and things like that. So I did that, but at a much higher sort of rate. Shane was sort of paying a lot more money for him. So yeah, if you go on and there's some really cool editing for him. And yeah, we did that. It's not my voice talking about him because nobody will listen to this guy talking like this. So we got a really sort of a nice American voice.
Sorry to bother you style, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly like that. So he does
Patton Oswalt.
Yeah, we've managed to not get anybody copyrighting the film or kicking off right now because it seems to be educational. So that's good. But yeah, give that a look. There's some really cool ones. I think we did The Lighthouse. Yeah, some good ones. And The Irishman as well. We looked at how they shot that and looked at the different camera types. And the cool thing was, because you're working, as I said, I was working in LA, but with a guy who's like a serious filmmaker, you're around cameras, you're around lights, you're around all that all day. So I'm learning all that whilst I'm there, but yeah, where do I get back to? The filmmaker that I went with my wife. Back to that one. Done.
Done. Nice.
Nailed it.
Keep saying that. Yeah, because she's just got home, so I'm making sure that she hears that.
She hears that.
Yeah, exactly.
Perfect.
Earning browning points.
So,
for sure.
Yeah, the cool thing, the posters for the film, if you want to know about this one. So the guy who designed that is a really cool guy called Jeroen de Waal, who works for BL Tomato, who design all these great posters in Hollywood, right? They did like Black Widow, I'm sure they did the new Spider-Man one. They do all great posters, and he's friends of myself, my wife, and he's Dutch. And I was talking to him about Man United and about, because I'm a football fan from England. So I was talking to him about Dutch footballers and everything like this. And me and him got on a house like fire. And when we needed a poster, I just kind of asked him and showed him a picture, showed him the film. And yeah, he made those for us.
Did he end up doing the, I think it's red with it's kind of like a silhouette.
Yeah, it's the Saul Bass inspired one because I love Saul Bass posters. Saul Bass did The Shining and did a bunch of stuff for Kubrick. Not that I'm comparing myself to Kubrick, but he did all those. And then we've got another two, which are really cool, which I'll send you over because they're just as cool. But those are in case we were to get it distributed in, like a Disney or a Hulu or something like this. And he did them in styles. So we've got one, which is like a really cool arty one. And then there's another one which has got Fuji out of one of the windows that's behind him, like the hospital windows. And then on the other side is Dallas that he's playing towards. And it looks really cool. So if you imagine that red one with the silhouette, it's like that, but with stuff in the background.
Nice.
And the hospital windows and everything. Yeah, it's cool. So he did those, and everything with this film has just been that. Just everybody kind of helping out, coming in, doing stuff, The animation. I mean, that animation was cool because I did that. I'm not sure if I said this one on stage, but there's an opening animation, which is basically the beginning
loved
of
that,
music,
by the
right?
way. The graphic.
You like that?
Yeah, I really liked it.
Oh, well, the idea with that was I'd written it because the whole thing, as I said, being a symphony, and then the whole film technically being like the old music concerts, where you would turn up and you would hear them warming up, and then you'd hear them go into these tuning notes and then start playing. From there, you go into what's called an overture, where you hear the themes of the opera or of the symphony that you're going to hear. Like if you ever watch, I don't know, there's the Thievish Magpie, there's the Bat, there's all these different overtures that will be played by the orchestra. And the idea of that was, hey, we know you're not going to listen to this for the next hour and 20 minutes. And we know you're not going to pick out all these themes. So here's a quick trailer of the themes so you can recognize them musically for when we go into the actual main symphony. So that's what we did visually and with music and with Joy from Apollo 100 Satellite Orchestra. We did that animation to show music coming to life, but also to show these themes of, Ryan being this musician and a top musician, but also showing the cancer fight and the family and him not giving up in the face of, laughing in the face of cancer, I suppose we tried to do. So yeah, that all kind of interwove itself into the music. And then to do that, I was sitting with Luke and Tara in the office, and I just said, I want to show music coming to life. And I have this idea, and they grabbed me some paper, and I just said, I don't know, I think I was trying to be an artist. I might have been, might have been in a zone, but I got this paper towel and just sort of rolled it out, and then drew the line, and then drew the heartbeat from the line as if music is coming to life. And then we go into a sound wave, which is easy to draw, just scribbling. And then I started drawing manuscript music, because as I said, I'd done that, I'd studied it, I knew how to play music, and just wrote out the whole theme, Joy by Bach. And then when I got home, I'd rolled it round the house put stickers on it, stuck pictures on it. And then I'm walking around the house to the tune and pausing over the, like pausing over the picture that we wanted and then moving on, and I'd written produced by Tara Wyatt on it. So, you know, that would be cool. So like, yeah, and wrote it in the musical style, Libra Badoni. And then, yeah, she just, walking around the flat doing this. And, I had to clean it all up. She wasn't too happy. But at the same time, no, I'm joking. She was awesome.
This was the house that you were like, this was when you were like living with Luke and Tara, right?
No, when I moved to Luke and Tara's, I pulled it all over. And that was the crazy thing. So we had all of these things stuck all over the wall and everywhere. It was, I mean, I'll be honest, I'm amazed that they put up with me sticking like their wall. There was a point I'd written in here, I've got it somewhere, I'll send you a picture. I wrote on the wall, Stanley Kubrick quote, which was films should be like music, should flow like music. So I'd written that on the wall to try and, a bit like you hear about like Steve Jobs going in and writing something on the wall for people to think about. I don't know why I did it, but Luke and Tara didn't shout at me, so I got away with it. It was
perfect. That's all you got to do.
Great, a lot of fun. We had a great family atmosphere. I'll be honest. The whole team.
It definitely felt that really when you guys were up on stage.
Yeah, I mean, they probably don't like me talking too much, but yeah, they're great. They're a great pair of people. She's heavily pregnant. I spoke to her this morning. I've plagued her for 2 years about this film, and now she's getting a little bit of time off, I think, or hopefully anyway.
Yeah. And I guess the last question we have is where are people going to be able to watch this? And like Tim here, he hasn't gotten to see it yet. Like, is it like going to be at some virtual festivals that we can just buy some tickets to?
Virtual. Yes, Malibu's virtual. I didn't mean to interrupt you then. Sorry.
It's all good. It's all good. We talk all over each other constantly.
Yeah.
Very common thing.
Yeah,
here.
go to Malibu Amazing International Film Festival, right? They're I think with them it's the 20th till the 24th, I think it is. So it's next week, and there I think it's $5 for a kind of online pass to watch the film or to watch all of them. So it's not too bad. And otherwise, I think we're on this one in Barcelona is an in-person, but we're attending it virtually. The one in Sarasota is live, so we're going to be there. And apparently, I've just read Kenny G has got a documentary going there. Kenny G's documentaries. I mean, mate, Ryan
it's all good.
Kenny G. It's the fight of the musicians. Trumpet v sax.
You got this.
And then there's a Ron Howard one that's like about like chefs and homeless people. So I'm like, wow, this is big leagues or whatever. I'm a bit nervous now. How will they handle me and my headbands and stuff? But we'll see. It's going to be a lot of fun. And,
very cool.
Yeah. And then and the final one is the Richmond. That's in person too. So there's going to be a few virtual ones. We're hoping to be in quite a few. So I'll keep you updated. But keep an eye on our Facebook and on our website, because Tara's going to be putting on some stuff as well to show where people can find us and all that kind of stuff.
Richmond's
let's hope that people like it.
Yeah. Richmond's like what, in June?
Yeah, June. In fact, it's the lead up to my birthday, so that's even better.
Ooh,
nice.
My wife and I share the same birthday, June 12th. Right? I'm giving out my bank details and everything else, but June 12th.
Yeah, I just need your social security number next.
Yeah, no problem. So I'll give you... And my American Express is. She's so we share the same birthday, so that's the lead up to the birthday. So hopefully she can come along with me as well, but we'll see. If she can't, then I'll fly back in on my birthday. But I think that's the 1st till the 10th of June. So
nice.
Yeah. And if you guys ever want to come along, as I said, it's probably.
I mean, it's only 7
Luke
hours.
and Tara have got a baby, so come and see me. Come on stage. We'll just do this and just.
I don't know how we did a podcast once.
There's people queued up for the next film, and we'll just be sitting there chatting.
That works with me.
I'll bring my harmonica. We can do some vibbing.
I have a harmonica, but I don't know how to play it yet.
I got a kazoo.
You don't know how to play it? Mine's somewhere around here.
When my grandpa passed, what was it? In 2019? I ended up inheriting his nice harmonica, and I've been like, I need to learn how to play this now.
Absolutely.
Mate, I've learned Isn't She Lovely, which I was playing down on the front in Beaufort, and I've learned that one, and hopefully nobody will ever say, oh, can you play this? Because I've managed to do that. I've managed to be like, and they're like, oh, you play the harmonica? And I go, yeah. And they're like, what can you play? I tell you what, I'll play you this one. You'll know this, right? And I play it, and then I'm like, please don't say.
Don't ask for more.
Only one.
Just learn Freebird.
Yeah.
Freebird,
Right.
yeah.
Freebird.
I've learned to, because it's got this little button on the side that changes the chromaticism. Right. I've just learned to do 20th Century Fox. You know, which is just pushing that button, and you know that one gets a second laugh. But so far, nobody's asked for a third one.
That's good.
Yeah. So you'll hear about me though one day. You'll be like, this guy, there's a guy who plays harmonica. He plays, isn't she lovely? And the 20th Century Fox theme.
I'll just start
away.
I'll just start spreading rumors that you are just like some unknown harmonica artist.
Yeah.
Trying to make it big.
So now everybody's gonna.
I might take it with me, and then if people aren't listening in the audience or something when I'm doing the Q&A, I'll just start, riffing on. And isn't she lovely?
Yeah. So what did you?
Did I answer your last question, or is this the last question now? Sorry.
Oh yeah, that was the last question.
No. Hey, that wasn't me checking you. I was seeing if you'd asked it. I can't remember what the question was.
Trying to find out when Tim can watch it, because we were like, dude, you got to watch this, and I was like, I don't think you can watch it before. Let's make some questions. So
no, honestly, and I can ask if I don't know how many links are allowed in to go out now. It's not me, because you know me. I would literally send it to everybody, every man, woman, and child. I would be, there wouldn't be a person on this planet that didn't receive. It'd be tantamount to spam. Like one of those people who's telling you that he's got
click this link.
Like his uncle's a deposed king or something. I'm the guy who's just going, watch my documentary, please. But yeah. So yeah, but if you can't see it, I'll have a word with Tara and see if there's a way that she can potentially get you a link. So.
I think we're I think you got another Biff movie in Malibu with you with reopening.
Oh yeah, that's over at Malibu Film Festival. Yeah, they were cool. Actually, those two are nice.
Yeah, they were great. Yeah, we talked to them right before the award show. They're like, oh yeah,
really?
Yeah, so it's kind of cool.
Yeah, they were really nice people, and they're from Groundlings as well, which is like all improv stuff that they do. That's really cool to watch. Actually, those people can just think on their feet like I've never seen people do.
I know. I don't know how they do it.
Don't know how I do it, but be honest, it's just because I don't follow that thread. You know what I mean? Just keep going, keep talking, Chris, and hope that somebody will interrupt.
You'll get somewhere.
Somebody will interrupt you, and then they'll just keep going with you, and then you take back over, and then it'll be 3 hours later, and we'll be here.
It's when you listen back to this and you go, he never answered one question. He was like a politician. He avoided every answer. I asked him about the film and he talked about his dog's birthday or something. No, it's been a lot of fun. I've enjoyed every second of this.
Yeah.
No, I guess for having us, guys.
Yeah, I don't have any more questions that I need on this recording. So yeah,
just I guess just keep us posted as things kind of take off. Obviously, we're following your Instagram, so we'll stay.
We can spread the word too from ours.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be amazing. Yeah, as I said, I'm out there in Sarasota at the beginning of April. I'm really excited about that. It's and I've got lots of cool kicks and things to wear at the event. So yeah, get ready for some wild clothing choices.
Yeah.
Listen, blonde wig's not there. Chris isn't here, but this person, Hertz von Rental, is. It'd be amazing. Yeah. It'd be like Andy Kaufman and that Tony Curtis.
Yeah. But anyways, well, thanks for coming on, Chris.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Thanks so much for having me. Sorry for talking over you guys. And
no, you're
thanks
good.
For letting me indulge myself in talking about me.
All right.
No, you're very welcome. Thank you. Yeah, whoever's listening, thank you very much. Please don't sue.
I'll just, if I get a cease and desist, I'll just cut that part.
Yeah,
cut it out.
Yeah. Pass it to my alter ego, Hertz von Rental. Right, you're trying to find a way out of this podcast now, and I'm just disrupting the whole thing. Sorry. You did a countdown. You did a countdown in. You should do a count up to finish. That would be like a really good. You did.
I'll let Tim.
3, 2, 1. And I have to go 1, 2, 3.
1,
okay.
A 2, a 3, something like that. Yeah.
And do the question mark at the end, so it leaves people wondering.
Yeah. All right, Tim. You got to do it with the. Yeah, go.
I'll do a little outro.
No.
No, I can't do that. But I got a 1, a 2, and a 3.